Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Tanya Smith and I'm your instructor for COMS 363, Lecture 2, the online version in fall 2016. And this presentation goes over your orientation, just the first part. I have a couple of other parts, 2 and 3, just the course purpose and structure. And I really recommend you look at the course outline, which is posted on D2L. But we're just going to go over the highlights just so you have something orally from me as well as visually. This presentation covers topics, goals, texts, and assignments. First of all, the topic, professional and technical communication. What does it mean? What is this kind of communication for our course, the way that we define it? Who do we think of as a professional and a technologist? Is anyone who's working with knowledge and leading in that area, who becomes an expert. Technologist could be an engineer, or it could be someone working with some sort of equipment. You never know what sort of person might be called a technologist. My husband had a job as a photo technologist with those photo printing things when they had photo printing way back. But all of the kinds of workplace communication that involve expertise in an advanced level. And that's what a lot of people are learning at university. Regardless of your degree, you're learning an expert field, and you could become a professional in that field, whether you're in the arts, the sciences, or in the professional faculties. And what you communicate about, well, normally the professional and technical communication focuses on science, technology, and business, but it could be broadened to include anything technically challenging, or anything specialized. So even a nonprofit organization could have specialization of how they handle people and materials and social issues within their nonprofit area. So we're going to expand that view of professional communication to include all kinds of human endeavor that require a high level of expertise, not just working with machines or things, but also working with people. Where and when it usually occurs, it could be internal communication within an organization, or it could be external. We're going to focus in this course on external public communication for our projects, but our textbook handles mostly internal organization communication. And we're going to focus mostly on formal communication, not just chat, interactions in the workplace, but when we need to write documents primarily, and because those documents can stay forever and be a good record or a bad record of what your organization has done. The purpose of professional and technical communication is usually just to get work done, to explain things to non-experts, to establish partnerships and trust between organizations or with the public or with customers or with clients. And the how is also quite important. When you see the word professional, you often think of professionalism, being respectful, ethical, on topic, all those things that employers, clients, customers value. The course goals, obviously we're going to learn professional writing skills. The oral skills are not really easily handled in an online course, so we're going to focus mostly on the writing, and that's more than challenging enough for this course. We're going to be looking at adapting it to communication contexts, but not too many contexts. The public online context is appropriate for our course given its technologies, and so we'll look at that context, and the internal context within our course we can consider almost like an internal organization, even though it's a class, not other kind of organization. So our contexts are fairly limited, but you do think about how things adapt to those types of audiences and technologies, etc. We do care about well-researched documents. Since technical and professional communication is about expertise, you have to have something you're expert in. And in this course, communication is what you are learning about. So we're going to research communication. And I'll talk about the type of communication we research later. We care about research ethics and citation. Those are usually two separate things, but both of them are ethical. Research ethics is about handling human participants in surveys or interviews, and our course handles survey data. Citation practices, any course you know you should be avoiding plagiarism, but there's so many technicalities. It is a technical form of communication to learn how to cite things properly. We also need to use and understand technologies. A lot of the course does involve navigating various programs, various interfaces, and technologies keep changing in this world. There's no point in saying, you're going to learn this and never have to learn it again, because we know that the next version comes out next year, and there's all kinds of issues that may happen with compatibility. So learning the skills to adapt to technological change, as well as thinking about compatibility, it's all part of professional and technical communication today, dealing with communication technologies that continually change. But we're going to try our best to keep it so that only the ones that are essential to this course are the ones that you need to use. The course learning methods: readings obviously teach principles and practices. Assignments, quizzes, you will learn through them. So the important point there is that you learn while doing them. Sometimes people think that the learning happens prior to them, but no, learning happens while you work through a quiz and while you do an assignment. And thirdly, a lot of important feedback comes from your markers. I'll talk about markers later, but we give you feedback on your assignments when you get them back with grades, and we do expect that you're going to be reading that feedback so that your next assignment will be of higher quality. The feedback you can consider almost like another textbook. It is going to be detailed, it's going to be rich, and it's going to be an important form of education in professional writing and thinking. So feedback is not just something we try to avoid. We put a lot of time and effort and money into giving you the feedback that you need, that's personalized to what you have written. Technologies, obviously we're using D2L. It's also crucial that you get access to Word and Excel in a fairly recent version, because you'll be using them for your assignments. Other programs don't have the ability to do the formatting that we expect, and the marking has to occur through the format of Word, which means from your point of view, you need to submit the files as .docx, docx. And you will be using Excel to read data files as well as to make graphs. And Word has some built-in graph making tools, but Excel is better at finessing on the important areas of graph communication that we cover. Google Docs and spreadsheets are used in the course. We use Google Spreadsheet for an online schedule to make sure that you always see the most recent version, and our markers and everyone always has access to that version. We also recommend that groups, which I'll talk about later in a different presentation, groups do their drafting on Google Docs until it's at a certain phase. Then you put it into Microsoft Word and finalize the formatting. What we're doing in this course for our main project is a website usability analysis. This is a type of professional communication we'll focus on, is how organizations communicate to the public in a professional manner, and how they use the technology of websites, and how they talk about technical expertise in their field. Usability is what makes a website's communication, structure, navigation good for its public users. What makes it effective? So effective is pretty broad. User-friendly might be more narrow. This is the normal theme for most online sections, to do a usability analysis of a public website. Each student will be given one website, and actually we'll only pick about 4 websites max for the whole course, which means that a whole bunch of people will be analyzing one of those 4 websites. I'll be selecting them. I have to double check how much they've changed since last year to see how much our data from fall 2015 surveys are still relevant to this current form of those websites. We do use online surveys to collect user data, and either students in this course, you'll participate in a survey, or you'll recruit two people to participate in a survey. I haven't yet decided to what degree we may be collecting new data through surveys. So just be aware that you might be taking a survey or recruiting people, or there might be something else going on with the research data this term. So I have to make that decision very quickly, and I'll let you know when it's time. You don't need to know quite yet. And of course, we won't be switching your assigned website. You'll just be sticking with that one throughout the whole term so that you're not having to learn too many things. These are our required textbooks. I give you the cover images so that you can verify what they look like. The Essentials of Technical Communication text, the gray one, is the major textbook of our course in terms of internal communication and basic broad principles of professional communication. It doesn't contain anything about website usability, and it doesn't contain anything about rhetoric, nor does it have information about our citation style, which is APA. So I've had to supplement that with a course handbook that I wrote. That's the purple one. The course handbook is a really good guide for you, and it contains all of the nuts and bolts of the how to do all kinds of citation, what rhetoric means, what usability means. It covers those major topics as well as some others for this course. We do have a few online docs in addition to that. Usability is often taught through these very highly reputed sites like usability.gov, which is the government of the United States website on usability, their federal government. We also have a style blog that you can look up things that's not in my citation if you ever get some strange things to cite. Those kinds of things are freely available online, and they can supplement our texts as needed. The assignments in this course. There are 3 quizzes added up. They are 35%. They're online and open book, which means you have a week to complete each of them, and you can collaborate ethically according to the guidelines that I set out in my quizzes document. Each assignment has a manual, and I recommend you look at the quiz manual that I've posted and look at how to manage the questions in the quizzes, how to prepare, how to double check that you've selected the one you think is best if it's multiple choice. The next assignment we do, well, it's kind of between quiz 2 and quiz 3, is a group plan. Once I've assigned groups after the add drop deadline, those groups will be writing a group plan to designate roles within the group and how that group is going to operate, how it's going to do research, how you guys are going to put your writing together step by step. So that plan is a short plan, has a schedule table in it, role table, that kind of thing. Your survey participation quota has to be fulfilled by a particular deadline, and if it's not fulfilled, then you get a small penalty on your individual report. So the next graded item is the individual report. In previous terms, I required every student to do report A and report B. So there were 2 different reports, slightly shorter each one, but it was more work for you guys as well as more work for Markers and I. So we decided to make them alternative since you're working in groups and you can designate certain people to do A or B. And I do have some advice for smaller groups or individuals who are doing the final report, whether you'll do A or B. Okay, so you're going to be designated A or B, and the designation will happen within your groups, or else there's a principal that tells you which one you're doing. The A is website rhetorical analysis, where you don't need to look at any survey data Excel files, and the B is survey data analysis, where you do need to create graphs based on survey data Excel files. So they're equally difficult because the rhetorical analysis one also involves some concepts that people always have challenges with. So conceptually, philosophically, the rhetorical analysis and data analysis are equal, and they're just different types of research reports. They both contribute and feed into the final report. So each individual report contributes material that then gets reworked, rehashed, reorganized in the group report, and supplemented as well with slightly more material than was in the individual report. You need to do a group draft by a certain deadline. That checkpoint's quite important if you're working in a group. And there is a component for group participation because you report to me in an appendix who did what part of the assignment. And there's also an optional survey where you can give feedback on everyone's participation performance in your group. So I do have ways of collecting data about your degree of contribution to that group report, and it may result in a slight adjustment to your individual score on that group report. And that's it for this presentation. Here's just some of the references from the images, and here's an example of the kinds of things that you need to do when you're citing and referencing sources. So I'm trying to be a good example of even citing my images, because you will need to be citing your screenshots and images that you include in reports as well. So that's it for today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be posting another orientation video soon, I hope, if I can get some time to do that this week.